Greetings, my name's Aaron. I am the writer and the art director, or the art curator. I'm the prompter of art for Camp Peculiar. It's a fun and fantastic webcomic for campers of all ages. You can find it over on Webtoons, or you can just click the link in the description below. Today I'm going to take you on a very quick but super informative journey on how I create comics for Webtoons using AI-generated art. So the first thing you're going to need to do is get familiar with MidJourney and have a Discord account. So you can go over to Discord and sign up for a Discord account there, and then you can go over to midjourney.com and you can join the beta or sign in there and then authorize your Discord account to use MidJourney. There are lots of videos on how to sign up for a Discord account and connect it to MidJourney. Once you have that authorized, you'll be joined up with the MidJourney Discord channel, and you can find that through your web browser or through the Discord client. The first place you'll start generating prompts is in the newbies area, where you never know what you're going to find, and then you'll eventually graduate to this general area, all these general channels here. After that, you might decide that you want a private account, which is what I have here, where all of your artwork is kept just in one spot. This is the most important part, though, the story part. So important that I'm going to highlight it. So the story is the most important part, and if you've not done a lot of webcomics or writing before, I would start small with the smallest, tiniest story that you can possibly think of versus some huge grand vision. Today we're going to write a story about pizza, so I would highly recommend actually writing out the speech, the dialogue, the descriptions for your comic in a word processor. This is paper from Dropbox, which is free with your Dropbox account, and that way you get the benefit of the spell checking and being able to see it outside of the comic to make sure that it makes some sense. This is a small story. It's just going to be just a couple of panels. We're going to need a character that we've not generated yet, so I have no idea what that character is going to look like. But he or she or it is going to be saying, I can't decide what I'm in the mood for. Ice cream flavored pizza or pizza flavored ice cream. Pizza flavored ice cream is, of course, way more disgusting, and that will be the one that he lands on. Pizza flavored ice cream, definitely. Or of course, or something like that. This is the text I'll actually use in a second, so we're on to the next fun stop, which is Photoshop. You can, of course, use whatever graphics design, layout, editing program that you want, from Procreate to Clip Studio, whatever that program is called. I'm going to use Photoshop really quickly here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is just start laying out the text. All right, you can see in this Photoshop document, other than just this logo, which I already have, I just created page 1. This is only going to be a one-page comic, so I'll only need this group of items here. These might end up on multiple lines. Right now, I just want the text in there so I can see what it looks like. The font I'm using is Back Issue BB by Blambot Fonts, which is one of the free fonts that they offer and looks pretty good. Do it. So the next thing we're going to do is tackle the layout really quickly. One easy way to do that is to go up to View, Guides, New Guide Layout. This makes drawing the panels and keeping them spaced perfectly with the same amount of gutter space easy to do. We're going to go 2x4. We'll go Guides, New Guide Layout, and we'll go 2x2, which will give us 4 and a little bit more of a gutter. And we definitely do want our text above our panels, so we'll do that. The next thing we're going to do is draw the speech bubbles. So we're going to do that right above the panels. You can create a blank layer or just start drawing. And I'm just going to use the pen tool, make sure I have a stroke of 7. These do need to be white, so we can change the fill to that. So we can change the fill to white, and then we can just start drawing. These don't matter where the points are right now. We're going to adjust them later. So we just need to get them done. They can also all be on the same layer, which I recommend. Just a quick note, we do need to have our panels on separate layers because, again, we're going to use clipping masks to put the art behind them or to mask them out. And if you have them all in the same layer, then the art that is behind them will bleed over into other frames. And we don't want that. So we need to keep the panels on separate frames, but we don't need to keep the speech bubbles on separate frames. Time to make a character. So again, we're logged in with Discord. We're connected to MidJourney and have authorized all that. And I happen to be in a private channel, but you could do this in Newbie if you're under a certain number of images or in the general channels. So we did a layout in Photoshop. We did the speech in Photoshop, and we're all done with that. Next is Art 1. In Art Part 1, I call Fishing for Good Seeds. This is an AI thing. It's kind of like thumbnailing in the actual art and illustration world. We're looking for ideas that we can then refine or have MidJourney refine into something usable. So that starts with a prompt, and that prompt is going to be /imagine, what brings up the prompt parameter. And then for that, I'm going to put in Teenage Panda character, comic book style, cartoon style, not carton style. And while it is thinking about that, we can come up with a second sort of fishing expedition, and we can go teenage. The last part of the prompt are what are called flags or additional parameters. They start with 2 dashes and then the name of the parameter. AR stands for aspect ratio. So landscape aspect ratios work better for landscapes and portrait ones work better for portraits. You can see we have our first sort of seed fishing expedition back. I don't like any of these images. This one of this panda girl's okay. So these buttons below there mean to upscale or make bigger, to render larger. This one in the upper left, 2 is this one in the upper right, 3 is lower left, 4 is lower right. So the U means upscale, the V means get different variations of this, which means you want to refine or get alternate versions of what was presented to you. This is the only one that I kind of like, so I'm going to go V3 on that, or get variations of 3, and it's going to work on that. The panda one is starting to come back great, and when you do the V for get variations of, you can see that you also sometimes get slightly different facial expressions. In number 2, it appears that this character is looking off to the right and thinking, and in version 3, the character is looking directly at the camera. And so you kind of, even though the pandas are different, when you're doing AI art, you take what you can get. In this one, I have the same character in 2 different poses. Then I kind of have an eyes closed one here that I could do. So last one, we have teenager, brainy, and then we'll put what they call a soft pause or a slight pause there with a comma, then comic book style, then Teen Titans Go style, and then our aspect ratio of 9 units by 16 units, which is a portrait, and we'll see what we get. I like this kid a lot. I feel like I need to use this kid. This one is my favorite one by far. That he would be asking this question about pizza is ridiculous to me. So I think I'm going to have to go with 2. So now we're done with our fishing. We've caught an AI art fish, and this is the upper right hand image here. And so we're definitely going to upscale it because we need to use that. And then we're going to get variations of it as well. And the reason why we're requesting variations of it is so that we might get slightly different facial expressions. It's not going to go from sad to happy or anything like that, but just different nuances that we might be able to use. And our 4 variations for the image we did select are back. And you see we got lucky because we got different facial expressions. If this were a longer piece, I would generate all of these things. But today I'm going to use just the one that I know. I need thinking and this one at the top. So generating comics using AI art is a lot more like filming video than it is like drawing, mostly because you don't draw. And when you're making a movie or a documentary, it's helpful to have B-roll. And I tend to think of using AI art for visual storytelling the same way. And so right now I'm going to generate what I call the B-roll. And maybe I don't know that I need pictures of these things, but I just want to see what happens if I try to get pizza ice cream. And likewise, I want to find out what would happen if I tried to I just did pizza ice cream, if I did ice cream pizza. I could be way more specific with this, describing the location or the crust or the size. All right, so our milkshake pizza glass came back, and the one in the upper right is good, and this one in the lower right is good too because they're both gross. So we went fishing, and then we're done refining and upscaling. Last thing we need to do is put it all together. So we're going to open up Photoshop, and we're going to bring in all of those images. We'll take that one first, and since I have this saved, I go ahead and usually just close it out right away, and then we're going to go over to our comic strip, and we'll find the first panel, which is this guy right here, and we will paste that on the layer above, and then we're going to right-click on that and choose Create Clipping Mask, which will confine that image to our panel, and then I can move it around in there and scale it up or down, as it were. So I'm going to switch this from 2 panels to 3 panels just because of the aspect ratio that I generated. The aspect ratio is key not only for the type of art you get, but as you can see, dealing with the snag that I got myself into here. So I'm going to go View, Guides, New Guide, Layout, and instead of 2 rows, we're going to do 3 rows. All right, so the last step then is to just move all of those boxes that we created earlier, all the speech bubbles around till everything fits right, to spell check it. And then the last step is we'll upload it to Webtoons. Okay, so we're all done. The last thing you might want to do is do just some slight color grading so all the panels look the same. This is only really 3 different images, the ice cream, the pizza, and the guy. So it doesn't need much. We're going to go ahead and export that as a PNG file. Very, very last step is to go over to your Webtoons comic, and we're going to call this one as episode 4. So we're going to put in episode 4. We're going to call it Ice Cream by the Slice, and then we're going to upload our image thumbnail, and then we'll just attach our little thumbnail to it right there. And then we'll select that image, and then we'll select the image for that comic we just generated, and because it's 800 by 1280, Webtoons won't rescale it or anything like that. We'll schedule this for Saturday. Oh no, we already have one scheduled for Saturday. We'll schedule this for Tuesday. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope that quick overview of how to go from start to finished published Webtoon was helpful. Like and subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more or follow along with using AI art imagery for visual storytelling. And head over to Webtoons and check out Camp Peculiar, or again, you can get the description for it in the link below, and I will see you next time.